Hello, beautiful patrons. Welcome to the tips for hiking the Massiv Trail. Massiv Trail is 350-kilometer trail through 4 national parks in Norway and is considered to be very challenging and difficult trail. The reason why is again terrain. There is not much, there is not that big elevation gain and loss on this trail like what makes this trail difficult is the terrain basically is really rocky and really remote. This trail is not much popular yet, and what was funny that every time I met some Norwegian people, they told me that why is it that the people from Europe or from elsewhere hiking this trail from the south to north rather than Norwegian and Swedish people from north to south. I don't know the answer, but for me it was more natural to coming from south to north, and also because you starting on from the south, you starting at the Handargervida, which is more plateau, and you slowly entering the mountains. For me, it was more like revealing by the end. I was going on this trail, I think it was the beginning of June, so I wanted to make sure that until I come to the part, the northern part, the most of the snow will be melted. On this trail, you going through 4 national parks, Handargervida.
This vast mountain plateau is the largest of its kind in Europe, covering around 6,500 kilometers squares. With its cold alpine climate and ancient glacial landscape, it felt like walking through prehistory.
This section, you can section this trail. You don't have to do the whole 350 kilometers on one go. So people doing it on the parts. So the Handargervida is more flat, and you're gonna have long flat days in this section. I would say is the easiest section. Then you're gonna pass through, which one is the second one? Karverheimen.
A wild bridge between Handargervida's endless openness and Jotunheimen's sharp snow-clad peaks. Trails wound between scattered D&T huts leading me through a landscape both gentle and rugged, each step drawing me closer to the heart of the mountains ahead.
Excuse my pronunciation again. Then is Jotunheimen.
Mythology, this is the land of giants, wild, dramatic, and in constant battle with the gods of Asgard. It lived up to the name, and I took my only rest day here before summiting Fanaraki and crossing the glacier.
And Brehammen, which is translated as home of glaciers.
Brehamen, its name means home of the glaciers, and truly is. Within its border lies Jostendalsbreen, the largest glacier on the European mainland. The final stretch of my journey lasted only 3 days, but yet carried the weight of 6. Crazy river crossings and hard terrain by the lake in the final stretch.
So, as I said, more you going to the north, the more demanding and difficult the terrain it's gonna be. This trail includes also one glacier crossing. So I will come to this in the next chapter. How to book this and how to basically cross this glacier to get to the trail and how to get from the trail. I was traveling from England to Oslo, and from Oslo you have a direct bus to the starting point if you're hiking from the south to north, obviously, Haukeliseter. This bus I think is going 2 times per day or 3 times. It's approximately 5-hour journey, and getting from there it's a bit more difficult. So if you're hiking from the north of south to north, you're gonna finish at the last hut called Sotaseter, and this one is another 20 kilometers from the closest village, from where is coming bus to the direction that you need. For my case, it was Oslo. Apparently there is a local taxi driver for reasonable prices who can take you from Sotaseter to the village. Some local bus which is coming 2 times per week. At the time when I was finishing the trail, unfortunately the bus was not going and the taxi driver was a little bit too pricey, so I did hitchhike, and my plan was staying at the Dofados campsite.
You have your private shower.
Campsite from where I wanted to catch the bus to Oslo for the next day. There is another option that you can take the bus to the village of Otta, and from there you have a train directly to Oslo. So it again depends on your timing when you finish the trail, or if you're coming from the other direction. On a Massiv trail, you have an option of camping or accommodation in a D&T hut. The camping in Norway, wild camping is illegal, so you can camp anywhere as long as not. I think there are just some rules that you need to be like 150 meters from the hut. Also, if you decide to camp in next to the D&T hut, you need to pay a certain little fee. It's like 200 crowns for using the toilets and the rubbish. In some of the huts you have to take the rubbish with you because simply there is no road, so they're taking all the rubbish and the stock for the hut through the helicopter. So I did camp sometimes close to the huts because I need to charge my devices, or basically it was just the right timing. I would say that there is a plenty of opportunities on a whole trail where to camp, but everything depends on the weather. Because if you are on the plateau section and it's too windy and wet, then it's not really wise to wild camp there. But I had really good weather most of the time, and I didn't have a problem to find any camping spots. You can become the member of DNT, which is I can't really pronounce that. What is it? Tourist Forenger, the Norske Tourist, blah blah blah. You become the member. You can become the paid member. I paid £10, I think it is. I don't remember. And you can hike with the Massiv passports and collect the stamps from each hut that you pass through. And at the end, they just gonna put you on the wall of hall. I just did it for fun, you know. I found it cool just to collect the stamps. And you get the discount also for the t-shirt, which says Massiv, that I don't have because it was sold out. So that's the one thing that you can get from this DNT thing. What you can do, hike with the passport, it's just nice memory. But what is so cool about becoming the DNT member is that you can purchase the key from the huts, which are self-service. You pay £10 for this key, and you can keep it. It's basically you rent this key, but you can keep it for forever. And this key will unlock about 550 huts over the Norway. So how does it work with this DNT thing also is that you have an app that you download to your phone, and each of these self-service huts and also the service huts, they have a little shops where you can buy the little things from the butter, jam, or dehydrated food, pasta, coffee, pancake mix, I mean plenty of stuff, even the gas. So because there is no reception on most of the time on the trail, what you do that you basically choose whatever you took from this shop in the app, and you pay afterwards when you have the signal. The same is with the same it work with the bed. in this self-service hut. They are fully furnished. There are cups, plates, pots, everything that you need. It is required that you have your own sleep liner if you staying in a self-service or service huts. And also some of these self-service huts during the season have the guard, which who will help you with the things that you don't know the registration in a book. So basically, when you arrive to the self-service hut, there is a book where you need to register, and this works the way that you basically open the app, you found the hut where you are staying, and there you choose the options of how many people for how many nights, and it generates your registration number for the specific number for that hut, and everything you need to write in the visitor's book: the number, your name, where was officially approved your DNT membership, how many nights, and how you paying. You can pay through this app or you can pay cash. DNT member, you're also gonna have a discount on service huts for the breakfast. For this was I was basically doing. Despite this trail is really remote, it was super easy to keep my food in a really nutritious level. So I was really worried on the beginning and I packed lots of food, but you can buy food in any of these self-service huts or the service huts. So I was camping always a little bit before the huts, and then I always camp for the breakfast for the next day. It was around, I think, £15 per breakfast, but it works as a buffet, so you can eat as much as you want. And if you want to pack with you the lunch, you can do, but they charge you for the bread. So for another 2 slices bread, I think it was another £2, I think, or £4. I don't really remember now. But they charge you only for the bread, so you can pack the eggs. And this breakfast been, guys, amazing. From the waffles, fruit, and homemade salad, there was so much options that I really didn't struggle all entire time on the trail with the food. To resupply, or if you need something from the shop, you need to get off the trail on the 2 places, which I did. I had this unexpected stay at that Kirkestjolen, and from there is about 10 kilometers village where is a big supermarket and also sport shop if some of your gear break. The only problem is that there is coming bus only 1 time per day, and that was quite late for me, so I decided to hitchhike, and after not even 5 minutes I caught the car. These people been actually dropping the son at the bus stop, so they needed shopping too, so they did their shopping, I did the shopping, and they took me on my way back to Kirkestjolen. There's another option, a village of Galo, that you can take, I think, from Finse. Yes, you can take a little detour from Finse, take the train to Galo, where you can shop. It's a big town, and again, you have there also some sport shops. There is no problem with water at all on an entire trail. It's so much water that I carried very little with me. I didn't filter the water at all. There is only one place where you need to be very cautious of taking the water, and that's Finse, the big lake. That I didn't filter the water, I was just directly using it from the stream. Also be aware of the glacier rivers that are not drinkable too, and I don't recommend you to even filter it because it can damage your filter. The weather in Norway is very unpredictable. No matter if you go in a winter or if you go in off season or in season, if you think that the summer it will be nice and sunny every day, you might be wrong. I was really lucky and I had a good weather. The trip started with little bit of rain and very surprisingly thunderstorms, which I encounter many times on the trail. So you need to be a little bit careful with this because you're gonna pass through really open and exposed area. I mean exposed, not like on the ridges. that it's exposure this kind of way, but it's super open area and is nowhere to hide. It's really rocky. The rocks are massive, so it takes a time to go through it, and that's why it's important to have a really good app for the weather and keep checking on this before you hitting up, because can happen what happened to me, that I was stuck in a thunderstorm and it was not fun at all. So you should be ready for any kind of weather. It was some of the days been really hot and I had quite good tan, so the sun cream, I would say, is essential. The waterproof is essential, and I was very happy that I packed my down sleeping bag and down jacket, because in the night was sometimes really cold. I didn't buy any specific map, but there is nothing on the market currently about the Massiv Trails guidebook. The only thing what I found was the Floor Daniels Massiv Trail guidebook. She basically inspired me doing this trail, but I purchased this book, but I was really disappointed from it. It contains some nice information on the beginning, but the information about crossing glacier are incorrect, because they changed it last year or 2 years ago. So I will come to this in another chapter. The guidebook contains the little maps, but they are very simple, and I think there is a very little written as a description of the each stage. According this guidebook, you ascend, you descend, and you are in a hut. In a real life, it takes so much longer. Some of the parts been actually much more difficult than I was expecting from this book. So I wouldn't rely only on this. It's super amazingly easy to follow the trail, although I met people who in the last section to Sota Seter said that there are no markings and they've been lost. It's true that you need to keep an eye on the red T's on the rock. So basically the marking in Norway is the big red T painted on the rocks and the crans. In those section of on the plateau, on those rocky section, in the bad visibility, I wouldn't dare to go maybe in a bad condition, bad weather condition on a trail, because you can get super easily lost if you lose the track on the red T's. There was a section in a Jotunheimen where the red T was quite a fade out, so I have to keep track on them. But pretty much it was like a game to search for the red T's. People expecting on this trail sort of path, but there is no path. These sections are last 3 days in Brainhaven. You will encounter big boulders that you have to climb over it, and there are massive rocks that you have to basically walk through them and make your own way. So these people who I met, they said that, but that there is no path. No, unfortunately, there is no physical path. You just need to keep a track on the red T's and make your own safe way through the rocks. The hardest section for me was the section by the lake, the on last day basically. It took a really long time. In this book, she said 1.5 hours. To me, it took 3 hours, because you really crawling over the big boulders. But it's not impossible. If you have a good weather, it's really like, it's a kind of fun. I downloaded GPX through the official website on the DNT, where you can find lots of information and description of the trail. I downloaded the GPX map from the Massiv Trail page, and I created my own, because there is a few options on the phone's board that you can take 2 different routes. That basically happened to me, that I was not following the original Massiv Trail. Instead of, I take the other one and I come to the next hut basically from the other side. If you're doing the trail from the north to south, you need to book the Glacier Crossing ahead through the main page. It was quite messy. The thing is that the hut at the Fanaraki is in a high altitude and they don't have always the connection there. So that's why I said that it should be done quite ahead. I was coming from the south. There is no possibility to camp on the top of Fanaraki. It's super rocky. I found there a few little spots maybe for the freestanding tent or BB bag, But this is important, this reservation to make ahead. They told me at the hut basically that the crossing of the glacier, you don't need to book ahead if you're coming from the south, because pretty much you need to come to the hut anyway. If you decide to don't sleep in a hut, they don't know about you that you want to cross the glacier, so you need to know the hut. So in my case, when I arrived to the hut, which is before the crossing of the glacier, I didn't have any connection. I couldn't send them email. I didn't book any. They've been fully booked at the hut, so I really didn't know what I'm gonna do. So the guy from the reception of the hut emailed them, and I got the reply that yes, they are fully booked, but I can come anyway. That they never sent anyone. They never anyone turn away. They have a mattresses, so I would probably sleep on a bed, but on the mattress on the floor. But when I arrived, actually someone canceled, so I was sleeping in a bed. In the time when I was crossing the glacier, that we didn't need the crampons because there was still snow, but the crossing is obligated with the rope is obligation to have on the glacier crossing. The whole crossing takes around 30 minutes, and the meeting point changed from the previous year, so it's about 40 minutes from the hut down on your descent. I think the meeting time was 10:30, so I left the hut earlier, and basically then everyone was waiting at this meeting point. Two staff members from the hut then arrive, and they explain us everything, the safety rules. They guide us through the glacier. In 30 minutes we be on the opposite side, and there was waiting group of the people who was coming from the north to south. That's why it's important to let them know ahead, because they need to know how many harnesses they need to bring. There are some escape routes. You're gonna pass through a junction, through few junction, that you can take the public transport to the closest town. Or to buy the gas was not so big problem, because the gas is they selling also in each of the DNT huts, but I wanted to make sure that I have mine in case it's sold out in the first hut when I started. So I popped out at the Oslo, and in 5 sport shop was the gas sold out. They definitely have plenty in the first DNT hut at Haukeliseter, also some little bits and bobs for the last minute that you didn't manage. Or what to pack is again very individual and according your preferences. I'm not much changing my things in my backpack for some hikes, and it was the same for this hike. I had down sleeping bag, down jacket, because there was some nights that had been cold. But what I had extra was shorts, because it was really hot in some of the days. So maybe to have something for the hot days, but definitely waterproofs. And I cannot tell you that yeah, pack the boots, the trainers, the hiking trainers are bad, because some people prefer them, but I wouldn't be able to survive on this trail because it is really rocky. In Norway, people speak Norwegian, obviously, but I didn't have any problems. Everybody speaks fluently English, so I basically was topping up on during that breakfast each day when I stopped at the hut. Some of the huts has a generator powered. They have electric generator powered, so it's off during the night, so you should think on this. In Norway, you pay everything just with the card. They don't really accept the cash. As I said, the DNT thing you can pay through the app, or if it's not signal, you pay later. And in the huts, is everything paid by cards. The same is the bus or taxi. In the reception was on most places not available, so again I would suggest to have the Garmin InReach. I didn't purchase any specific SIM card. I was using my roaming, and yeah, where was no signal, I just used the Garmin to send a message home. But I have to say that most of the time I didn't have any connection. From the wildlife, you encounter reindeer, herds of reindeer. Is good to keep a distance from them and don't disturb them, especially when they have the little ones. Then I had this problem with the fox who stole my boots from the tent. I left my boots outside the tent, and in the middle of the night I woke up on a fox in my tent to stealing my boots. So this trail, it's hard, it's difficult. Despite it's well marked, you should have essential navigational skills, because in a bad weather it could be different story. Also, there is a several river crossings, the specific particularly three of them at the end of the trail, which was, well, basically my end of the trail, uh when it's too much snow still on the trail, and how the snow is melting, this free river crossing can be really difficult. At the time when I was crossing them, it was on some parts knee deep. I decided to choose two more shallowest and widest parts. But I met a people from the northern halfway who've been saying that when they've been crossing the river, it was hip deep.
The rest of the river crossing being very wide, but still possible to cross on the stepping stones. On the other ones being bridges which been super wobbly and impossible to go walk through sometimes.
This bridge completely sucked. I couldn't fit through this.
Now you should know that you will encounter lots of snowfields on this trail. Some of them are quite dodgy, but mostly manageable to cross without crampons, depending on which time of the year. You should be careful to watch for snow bridges too. Some snowfields are too wide, so you can may easily lost on track of teeth which are buried under the snow. Some snow patches are quite big but really easy to follow. Some snow patches are quite steep, so be careful on descending down. And that's pretty much all. Thank you for watching.